Hello everyone, this is Marius. Welcome to the second session, session 02 of the journey to become an excellent front-end web developer. So last class we did semantic HTML. So let me open my browser. Okay, this is what we did. Okay, this is what we are having. Okay, so today we are going to be styling this using CSS, and I took the liberty of let's see, last time we worked with this wireframe here. Okay, but today we are going to be working with this wireframe right here. It means that we are going to transform this to this. Okay, so I went ahead and I took a wireframe of this so that we work on that. So let's get started. The first thing is to, for those who are already used to, okay, it's fine. I mean, you are already used to this, like maybe you already have a little bit of CSS experience, but now what we do is to let's create a CSS file called blog.css. You can give any name you want. I use blog.css, and then I'm going to link it using the link tag. I'm going to use a shortcut called link :css, and in this href I'm going to put my blog.css. okay, control space can help you better. Control space. So this is my blog.css and I've linked it. Let me test if it's working. In the background, let's give the body a background color of red. Save, and let's see if it's working properly. Okay, it's working properly. Now let's go back. So the first thing that I advise to do here is just we want to embody this into a main tag. Okay, and we use that to do that. We use the main tag, right? I'm going to put main, and in that main I put all my stuff. So we have in the main tag. So the first thing we're going to start working with is the navigation. Okay, and with the navigation we are going to work on the header. Okay, and for the header we are going to start by giving a padding. See how it change. Okay, so but the first thing before we even start with the CSS, guys, is what they call CSS reset. Okay, something like that reset, in which we reset everything by using asterisk, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. You can even give a font family of sans serif. Okay, now what this does is, let me go to the browser and explain. What this does is that what it pushes them back, it squeezes them up, it removes the default padding, the default margin, and the default box sizing. Okay, it sets the box sizing to border. Okay, let me explain better. If I use something like let's say I go to my inspect and I select this cursor and I hover over this my elements right here. For example, if I remove this margin here, you can see it brings it back to the default margin. If I remove the padding, right, it does the same. As you can see, its element shifted. Okay, just here. Okay, if I move the box sizing, you won't see it now, but this one is to prevent elements in the container from exceeding its border. Okay, font family is just for the styling. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So for those who don't understand margin is simply pushing the elements, the outer layer. We have margin top, margin left, margin right, margin bottom. The same thing goes for padding, padding top, padding right, padding left, padding bottom. Okay, same thing goes for border, border top, border left, border right, border bottom. And then finally in the middle here we have the content. Okay, so follow with me as we build this. You can research if you want. So let's go. The first one, logo, and we're dealing with the nav here. So I suppose we could give it a padding of 40 pixels. Oh, mistake there. A padding of, no, let's say a padding of 10 pixels should be okay. Okay, let's see what it gives. I'm going to use preview here to see if it's working. No, I think it's better not to use that. Let's just use the browser for convenience sake. So if I use the preview here, you can see there's a little bit of gap here, right? Okay, and now what we want to do next is to align the items to make them flexed. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Okay, what we are going to do here is to use display flex. All right, we are going to flex this out. So let's go ahead. I don't know if I should separate this. Probably I'll use flex here. Let's just minimize this because we are working with a wireframe. Okay, let's use flex and see. No, but it's not going to work because let's better target the nav. Okay, because the nav is what contains the elements which we want to flex tab, the logo and the home. Okay, the logo and the links. Okay, so we're going to come to nav here and then pardon for the background noise, it's difficult to record here. So now we have the nav, and in this nav we have display flex. Remember, it's just going to align the items, you see, right? If I come here, Control Shift, or let's say if I hit inspect here, okay, and I come here, I click on this arrow here, it's this arrow at the top left, and I hover over this area, for example, and if I, oh, what have I done? Okay, if I come to main here and I hit header and I hit nav, you will see that I gave it have I actually saved this stuff? Did I save it? Looks like there's an error somewhere. Okay, nav display flex. Okay, if I uncheck this, you see it comes down to the bottom. Okay, it's not more aligned to each other. So that's what display flex does. It positions them horizontally. Now if I'm to come here right now, I can decide to give a justify content of space between, and I save that. What this space between does is what it pushes the elements to the border. Okay, it pushes the elements to the border of the page. That means these elements are pushed to the extreme border. Okay, it's pushed to the extreme, and the reason why there are spaces here is because I gave the header a padding. Okay, if I'm to remove the padding of this right now, all I have to do is to disable this, and you can see it comes back to the edge. Okay, comes back to the edge. Now this case now, for example, if I decide to use justify content, yeah, if I decide to use, okay, so if you realize here, right, it has gone. Okay, we can also use something like justify content space around, and you can see that the elements have come directly in the middle, like there are space around the elements. That is why it is placed this way. Okay, there are space around the elements, so that's it. But right now it's more convenient to use justify content space between, so we'll stick to that. Okay, now we have to work on this side, this list part. Okay, let's try to work on it. The first thing that I'll do, first of all, if you realize when you go back to the code, if you realize here, right, okay, so now if you realize back here, we have two UL, so we have to use classes. Okay, this is when we start using classes, because this one is the same thing as this one. If I target it, if I write UL, it's going to affect the whole thing. Okay, if I write, for example, UL and I give a display of let's say flex, right, like we just did right now, display of flex, you see what is going to happen right now. So what is going to happen is that you can see here as well, it has flexed the whole thing, and here it has done the same thing. So we have to give it a class. We have to be more specific. So now we are going to name this one like a name that makes sense according to the context. A class of, let's say, nav list. Okay, nav list. So we are going to name this one dot. That's how you write the class. For those who don't really know yet, nav list. Okay, and when you save that and you go to your browser, you can see this one is not affected. But oh, I forgot something here. Okay, I forgot to save my HTML. Okay, yeah, now it should work. Okay, now you see this one has changed, but this one hasn't. Okay, that's why one of the reasons why classes are so important. So now after this nav list, we have to target the li. Remember, we have li and then the a tag. So we have to target the nav list, and then we have to target the li. And with this one, we use list style type none. Okay, to remove the list styles. Okay, as you can see now, the styles are gone. Okay, for this it's gone, right? Okay, so okay, okay, now you can see that the list has gone. So now what we are going to try to target now is the a tag. Okay, the a tag. Now to target the a tag, you can pass through the list because the a tag is in the list tag. So I'm going to try nav list lia tag, and here we're going to take a text decoration of none, right? So when you go and check it back, you see the underlying part has gone. Yeah, okay. Now let's continue. Let's give it let's say let's give it a color of black. I'm not going to start with the hashtag colors yet. So okay, but now look at what where a problem is going to arise. If I now decide to come now to this nav here, to this list, okay, this nav list, and give a justify content of space between, it's not going to work. Okay, the main reason was because we have already given a justify content space between, meaning that the space here has been compressed so that we cannot use space between. Okay, we cannot use space between, we cannot use space around, so space between cannot work here. What we have to do right now is to come and give a padding to this list because it's the list that guards the a. Okay, so we're going to give like a padding of, let's say, a padding of 5 pixels. Okay, 5 pixels, and to space them out, right? That's the main point. So you can see it's working, but now the main problem now is that what, it is not aligned. You can see that this logo is up and these two other ones are down. Okay, the logo is up but the list is down. Okay, so what do we use here? Now this is what they call the cross axis and the main axis. In the cross axis, we use to justify content space between. So it's another one that you call align items for the main axis. Okay, so for the main axis now we use center. Okay, if you check this out now, you can start is centralized completely. If I come here, take a look at the logo and I remove this, you see it goes up slightly, and I put it back, it goes down slightly. So we use justify align item center to completely centralize it at the main axis. Okay, so it's completely centralized now. That's what we want. So now we give align items center. That should do it. Okay, now after giving align items of center, now I can go ahead now, and then I can now let's check if we have, for now it can be okay, but let's give the header a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, maybe we'll space out the list again. Maybe we might give it 10, and then we give the header a padding of 15 pixels. Let's see. Okay, to me I think it's slightly better. Okay, now what are we going to do? We have to now work on the hero section, right? I'm going to work on the hero section. Let's see, this logo is centralized. Oh, I made a mistake somewhere. Why is it not centralized? We just centralized it, right? Let's see. They justify nav list, align items, center. Oh, it was supposed to be here in the nav items, not the nav list. My bad, that's a mistake. So okay, now it's good. Okay, centralized. Okay, good. Now we are going to work on the hero section, and we can start by giving this a margin top of 40 pixels. Now in CSS, remember we gave each section. So we have to give a class, because if you target just the section, it's going to affect both of what we are doing. So we're going to give this one an appropriate class of, let's say, hero dash section. And when we are done with this, now we can now come to let's see. Okay, everything's okay. We can now come to the styles and target hero section. And in our hero section, we are going to give the margin top, like we said, the margin top of, let's say, 50 pixels. Okay, and we're going to try it out. Okay, you can see it has changed. Okay, it has changed. You can see the margin here, right? You can see the margin. That yellow icon, that yellow space there. All right. So now what we want to do now is to give a line here, up here, right? We are going to just give a line here. Okay, we are going to use an HR. You can come here in the hero section and then you put an HR just right here. Okay, and after we do that, let's save and refresh. You can see there's a line there. We're trying to imitate this particular part. Okay, now if you discover that in the hero section here, it's spaced out. Okay, now I'm guessing that you guys are going to do something like, for example, we are going to come to here. I think it's better to give a class here because we have many h2s. Okay, so we give a class and you give it let's say hero title, something that makes sense. Okay, and here when you come to hero title, for example, hero title, you are going to give something like, let me guess, a padding of 10 pixels. But let's see what that does. Okay, let's see what that does. You can see what have I done here? What have I done? I gave a class of, oh, I didn't save it. Oh, I didn't save on the HTML. Okay, now you can see this is the padding of the hero, right? But take note, we have an HR just down here that we have forgotten to put. Okay, now let's go ahead and put that. Let's see. We have an HR just below this, so we have an HR here that we put, and let's go and check it out. Okay, it seems pretty good, but what we want here mostly is padding top and padding bottom. Okay, now in the box model, like you see on the top right, on the bottom right of the screen, the box model is mostly of margin top, margin bottom, margin left, margin right, padding top, padding bottom, padding left, padding right, border top, border bottom, border left, border right. So this is it. So we want to only focus on margin top and bottom. We don't want to work on this space here, right here, because you are giving padding 10 pixels. Padding 10 pixels goes for padding 10 pixels top, padding 10 pixels right, padding 10 pixels bottom, and padding 10 pixels left. That's what I'm seeing here. But we only want to have the padding top and bottom. So what do we do here? Because this padding 10 pixels is the same thing as saying padding top 10 pixels. Then padding bottom 10 pixels. Okay, padding bottom 10 pixels. So as I was saying, the same thing as saying padding bottom, padding top and padding bottom. If I give padding left here, for example, I have 10 pixels. Padding right, for example, we have 10 pixels as well. So this is the same thing as writing padding 10 pixels. Yeah, I've done it for all of the four corners. Okay, so we're only going to be focusing on padding top and bottom, like we said. So to do that, we're going to start padding top 10 pixels, padding right is 0, padding bottom 10 pixels, and padding right 0 pixels, and padding left 0 pixels. Okay, because we're only focusing on that, right? So what we are going to do now, okay, is that we are now going to check it out on our web page, and you see, right, you see that there's no gap here, but there's still padding, right? That is what we want. Okay, and now if you take note, this thing is centralized. Okay, it's centralized. And remember, in our logo, I almost forgot, in our logo we have an H2E. Let's make it a little bit bold. Okay, so we're going to use font weight here. Font weight. I'm going to make it bold. Okay, bold like that. Yes, I think it's better. And then now for the hero section, everything is good. Okay, font weight bold, looking good. Okay, so now hero title, everything is done. So I think it's better to containerize this. Remember, we are trying to imitate this style here, right here. Okay, we are trying to imitate this right here. Okay, so what can we do? It's better to containerize this element, containerize, because we are going to use flex here and we're going to push this one towards this way, and we're going to use flex direction. Okay, and we want the space here to be different from the space here. So what are we going to do? We are going to put this one in the div. We can give it an appropriate name. Okay, an appropriate name of like something like let's say something like on a studio. Okay, so now I'm going to containerize this. I'm going to give it an appropriate class. Let's say a div dot, it's another short form of writing class easily of hero or sub hero. Okay, sub dash hero, control space to come back, and that. Okay, so we're now going to go ahead and go to the hero section, and then we're going to give display flex, I guess. Display flex. And now take note, the method now is that this does not look good, so we have to make it to be a column back. So we're going to use a property of flex called flex direction. Okay, so flex direction here will be the same thing as column. Okay, so column here is going to work properly. Okay, yeah, you can see that it's working perfectly well. Okay, so what are we going to do now is that we're going to give it a we're going to come here right now, okay, to this section here, and give the same flex stuff. Okay, I didn't even think flex was really necessary for this section. Let me see. I think it's better to just apply it to the sub hero section. Okay, the sub hero section. So we're going to go to the sub hero, and then we're going to go and put display flex direction column, because here we want to use a feature called gap. Okay, and you can say it's a gap is a feature of this flex. So we're going to give a gap of 5 pixels. Okay, as you can see, it's coming out. Okay, but still we have to give a padding. Okay, you have to give a padding, and maybe we have to, yeah, first of all, let's give the padding to the hero section itself, to the sub hero section. And the sub hero here can have let's first of all give it a margin top, of, let's say, 5 pixels, and then we are going to give this hero section a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, 10 pixels, and I believe by at this point you understand what I mean by padding. But now you can see what I was saying, right? Padding, you see. Okay, it's because you have given it to the whole stuff. Okay, so now what we do now is that, so I was saying this is a common error that we have, because you put padding is affecting both of the stuff. Okay, both of the left, right, top, bottom. Okay, that's why you see that is an error here. It's moving this completely. But what we are even trying to target is this particular section here, and this is also one of the reasons why I gave a div and I containerize it. So instead of putting it there, we're going to come and put it in sub hero. You can hold your alt key with the direction arrow button and push it down like that. So now if you see that it has changed, right, what we wanted, and we want to give this this sub hero, we want to give this okay, hero section, everything is fine. Okay, yeah, okay, I think it looks good. It's looking pretty good. So we can even come here and now give this one of a class of sub hero title. Okay, so I'm going to come here and now put something of sub hero title dot sub hero title, right, and give it a margin top. Oh, this is what we try to do here. put this one here instead, margin top of 5 pixels, and you can see the results right away. Oh, I forgot to save in the HTML as well. So okay, now you can see the result, right? It's a little bit of gap here. Okay, welcome to my blog that you were supposed to use there. So let's see if I've copied everything okay, because I'm not really seeing much of a difference there. Let's try with 15 pixels to see. Hopefully, isn't it working? I don't understand. Let me see if I've targeted right. This is it, right? Oh, sorry, my bad. We were trying to instead push this to the bottom, and I went and instead did the reverse. This is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Let's put it back 5 pixels, and instead of top, let's put bottom. My bad for that. So okay, now you can see looking better, right? Okay. So the next thing that we have to do is to centralize this hero section. You have to centralize this to the center. Okay, so we can just come here simply, and instead of using display flex, justify auto, like we are dealing with just a text here. So we can go now to the hero title and give it a text align center. Save this and go back. You can see perfectly centered. Now let's work with the articles section. Let's not waste too much time. Let's work with the articles section. And the articles section, from the previous wireframe that we had, okay, we were able to see that this one was divided the same way like this. Okay, almost the same way. So I'll just now come and throw the H2, the first section. We have to target the section separately, remember. So this is the hero section. Now we can call this one the article section. So I'm going to give it a class of article section. Article section. And in this article section, we are going to use flex. Okay, I think flex is necessary here. Yeah, so we're going to come now. We're going to give this h2 a class of article title, something reasonable. Okay, class of article title. I mean, are you getting what I hope you are getting what I'm saying. Article title, and then after the article title, we're now going to come here with respect to this. After, we are going to give a margin. Remember, we can use the same. Let's first of all start by starting the article section first. And with the article section, we have something like oh, I forgot to put a dot here. Okay, let's put a dot. So now display flex. Okay, and that display flex, we can now use flex direction column, right? So now we're going to go and try it out and see. But first of all, I would rather prefer that we should work on my bad, this article section. This article section envelops these two. I almost forgot. Okay, article section envelops these two. Means that you want it to be side by side using flex like we did. Okay, so it has to be like this. So we are going to use the article section flex. Okay, let's see. This section covers both of them. So this is display flex here that was we have applied now. So if I copy this, let me see. If I copy this, it's supposed to have an effect. And I save this, and I hope I've typed everything correctly, and I paste that there, and I put it like that. Okay, you can see, right? But it's squished together. So what you can decide to do here is to give what? Give it a width of 100%. I'm going to explain why. Because this is one method that I used, and it worked 100%. Okay. Now you will not really see the effects right now, okay? Because it's a bit complicated. So what you can do now is to now come, for example, in this article section, we had two divs, right? The one for responsible for the articles and the other one responsible for the sidebar. So in this first one, we're going to give it the class of article, or let's say sub article or something like sub article section. Okay, sub should we really give article section? Let's give the class of article simply. Okay, article is good. So we can, and then we come here and give it this one the class of sidebar. Okay, sidebar. So we have dot article, and we are giving this one a width of 50%, and we have sidebar a width of 50% as well, and we save this and we go. Guys, you can see the difference now. 50% of the 100%, meaning that what, if I highlight this, you can see this my section here, 50% each. Okay, meaning that in this article section that you see that has been highlighted, this article section here will take 50% and this sidebar will take 50%. That's why I get 100% to split equally. Okay, so now there's a better way of writing in CSS in order to avoid repetitive styling, which is what you are simply going to remove this, and you can say something like, okay, article and then the other class comma, that is the same effect. Okay, as you can see, it's the same thing, it's not changing, right? So now what you can decide to do here now is to, for example, okay, so now that is that. Okay, so now let's see what do we have here. Let's first of all try to push this completely central. Let's give it a padding. So we are going to come only for the article this time. I know why I'm taking only the article, I'm not doing it for the two. Article here, we can give it a padding of 10 pixels, which is just fine by me. Not padding inline, padding, a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, get a padding of 10 pixels, and then after this you can see that centralized a bit. We have to now focus. Okay, so now I hope you are not disturbed by that. Okay, so now if you come to something like the article right now, you can see, for example, that okay, article title, you can see you can decide to give them the same name because they're the same, it's basically the same thing, right? So we're going to give a class of sub, or let's say article title. No, sub article title makes more sense. Sub art title, let's just keep it that way. Sub article title, and in this sub article title, yeah, let's give it up. Sub article title, we are going to open this, and then we are going to do something like I mean, it's for this one, right? For this one, so we are going to do let's say a margin top and bottom. A margin top and bottom will be 10 pixels and left and right will be 0. That's also a short form. Okay, if you just want to do it simply, if you come here, you realize that it's already working, but you can't really see it yet. Is it that it's already? Let me see. Okay, I forgot to save the HTML, no wonder. Okay, you can see that right now. Okay, but I think it's too much. Let's just use a 5 pixels, which is fine. And then let's target now the article title here, right? The article title dot article title, we have, let's say, margin top and bottom as well, and the margin top and bottom will be 10 pixels, the same thing left and right. We don't expect to do anything there, and that is looking better. So now we can now decide now and come and give the articles, or give the containers itself the article. Remember, we're not targeting the class, but we're targeting the HTML attributes. And then the article here can be given, you can give it a border. Okay, I usually use this technique most of the time, of 2 pixels solid black. Let this look a little bit like what was intended. Okay, you can see it's showing up. Okay, so we can decide and give this article, I think we can decide and give the article something like display. No, let's say we're going to give the article that let's say, okay, now let's decide to give a space between them. Let's say margin of let's say 10 pixels 0. Okay, now it's looking a little bit better. In fact, it's better to just give a margin bottom, I suppose. The margin bottom is better. I'm going to increase it to 15 pixels. Okay, and then after that you can see, okay, now we can give a padding of 10 pixels. Okay, that should do it. And we are going to give a width of 50 pixels or 50%. Yeah, 50% should do it. So okay, it's looking a little bit better there. And then we are going to work on the part on the button. Okay, on the button section. So we can refer to an article, and then we have the button, and then we have a padding. You can give the button a padding of let's say up and down 5 pixels, and left and right 10 pixels. Okay, and then we can give it a background color of black. We're not using the hashtag color codes, so I can give it the color of white. You can check to see how it is, and you can round the borders by giving it a border radius of 5 pixels. Not too much, but just fine. Okay, yeah, you see, looking good. And now we can even go ahead and give it a cursor of pointer. Okay, for the pointer. Okay, cursor pointer, you can see, right? Okay, we don't want anything much. So now we can now decide now and create a hover effect. Okay, so we can just target this button directly, because that's practically all what we have in this all the buttons that we have in this project. So we can decide to now give it a background color of gray. Okay, background color of gray sounds okay. So when you hover this, you see background color of gray, but there's a little problem. And what is that problem? The little problem is that what is too fast, it doesn't look smooth. So I'm going to give it a transition of 0.2 seconds. Okay, someone will say partition of 0.2 seconds. Now you see it's a bit smoother. Okay, it's a bit smoother. So let's even try and increase the border, call the border of this. Let's give it 2 pixels. Let's just leave it at 2 pixels for now. Okay, achieve what you wanted to achieve. So we're going to do the same thing now for this one now. Okay, for this. Okay, so we are going to now try to give this one a padding too. I already dealt with this section. I think it's okay for now, but the button is a little bit close to that paragraph, so we can decide to give the button a simple margin top of let's say 2 pixels. Let's see if there'll be a difference or not. Nope, it's not showing. So let's give it a border of 5 pixels, a margin top of 5 pixels. Okay, that's a little bit better now. So now we are going to work with the sidebar section. Okay, and the sidebar section here, so we are going to go through with the sidebar. We have the sidebar section, and then we have a padding, and this is the mistake again that is going to occur. I think there'll be a mistake here, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, you see the same thing has happened here. Okay, because you gave a padding of all the sides and it affected the left side, so it pushed away the HR that we had here. So we are not going to target the sidebar per se, we are going to target the elements in the sidebar. And by that, for example, for this sidebar, you can see here, I even made a mistake. There was supposed to be a space between this, a little bit of space between that. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So what we are going to do now, we are going to target this sidebar. We are going to give this h2 a class of let's say sidebar title, okay. And after a sidebar title, now we're going to go and say let's first of all target the sidebar title dot this and that. Okay, now we're going to give it a padding of what we don't want anything left and right, so I'm going to give a top of 5 pixels, a right of 0, and a bottom of 5 pixels, and a left of 0. So I'm going to now go and try this out. Why is it not working? Did I give sidebar title? Oh, I gave article title instead of giving a sidebar title. Okay, when you give a sidebar title now, you can see it has changed. There's now some gap between. But now what we want now is to give a little bit of space here in the sidebar. So what are we going to do? On the left side, which is 0 here, we can decide to give it a sidebar of 2 pixels as well. Okay, and you can see it has shifted a little bit. Okay, so now we have this. We have to now give this one a padding, and I'll suggest that you both put this one in divs because it's necessary. Okay, always go to containerize your work. So now I'm going to come here, right? I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to give the first one what a container of div sub sidebar. I'm going to do the same for this one. I'm going to select this one and give a div of sub sidebar and paste this. Okay, so now I'm going to now confidently give this sidebar a display of flex direction column, and then use the gap property. So I'm going to give it display flex direction. Let's say flex direction of column, and then I'm going to give a gap of 10 pixels. Let's see how that looks now. Okay, looking good. Now I'm going to now come over here, and I'm going to now target this section here of wait, can I let's just give both of the sub sidebar. Let's try with the sub sidebar, since they are the same classes anyway. Let's just give it a stop. We could have containerized both of these into one div, okay, but since they are the same literally, let's just go ahead and give a sub sidebar, and we're going to give this one a padding of 10 pixels. No, I'll start with that. Cross show consistency is good. So you can see that this list is not really good. Okay, as you can see, it's not that good. You know what, we can decide to give this one a padding left of 2 to match this one in a straight line. So let's go ahead and give the padding left of 2. So we're going to give a padding left, okay, a padding left of 2 pixels for this. Okay, it's a bit better, but now we have to push this one away because the lists are entering. Okay, so what do we do here? We can now decide to now target sub sidebar. Okay, and this is when now you learn multiple classes. Okay, you can decide now to give this one sub 1. Okay, that's another class inside there. So you understand the uses of this in a few moments. If you select sub 1, okay, we can now decide now to give a padding left of 10 pixels. 10 pixels sounds fine. Okay, you can give a padding left of 10 pixels, but it's still not enough. We can try 15 because I want to show you how to move that. We have to move this. Okay, so now it's there. So what do? We have to change this. Remember, in the previous session 1, we had a wireframe in which we dealt with this one in which we had this dash. Okay, so now we have to make it look that this dash yeah, right now. Okay, so now to make it that way, now we are going to target this UL with a class again. In fact, yeah, so we have to target this class. I don't think I think there's no need here. We can just target the list directly and give it a list type of in this capital, in this quote, this. Okay, we put the dash in the quote, and you can see it's right there. If I say right now the font weight, if I set the font weight now to be bold, you will see it better. Okay, as you can see, those are them right here. Okay, now you can tell now to target H4 and give it a margin bottom here. Okay, so we can decide to give this H4 a margin bottom by going to sidebar or sub sidebar. Okay, sub sidebar, and then h4, and then we give the margin bottom of 5 pixels. Okay, and you can see that it's pretty better, I guess. So now we can go ahead now and target this as container, as I think was it the article section here, and you give it a border bottom of I didn't write that well, a border bottom of 2 pixels solid black. Okay, and then now you come to your Firefox, you can see. Okay, good. Now remember, we have a main tag in that surrounds all of this. Okay, so now in the main tag we can go ahead and give it a width of, let's say, 670 pixels. 670 pixels. Okay, in which we have this. Okay, and there's no border, so we can decide now to containerize the border using border 2 pixels solid black. Okay, you can even increase it to 3 to make it more conspicuous, but anyway, I don't think that's too necessary. Okay, as you can see, that's that. Now I'm going to try to centralize this in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to come here, I'm going to target the body this time around, and I'm going to give it a display of flex. Okay, and I'm going to give it a justify content of center. Okay, see if that works. It's working. Let's give it an align items of center. Okay, it's not working. Now let's try and give it a height of 100 VH, which is the viewport height. Now the reason why this works is because when you give a justify content of space between of when you gave an align items of center, there was no specific height. Okay, so when you give this height a 100 VH, which is viewport height, which is this 100 height here, the entire body, it automatically centralize it. Okay, so you can see that during the process of shrinking, this one decreased a little bit, so we're going to increase the percentages of the article, so that is going to be good. All right, so let's go and adjust the articles. What is it? What's the article? Yes, article. We're going to give it a width now of, let's say, 80%, which is convenient. Okay, 80% convenient, 80% is good. Okay, so anyway, guys. Okay, guys. So remember last time we saved our stuff in session 1 that we did. So now let's create another folder called session 2, because that's what we did today, right? And this is session 202, right? And then we can like copy this wireframe only, okay, this one, and paste that here. Then we are going to copy the block, because this is what we did today, right? Here was other semantic, so we can drag that here, and then we can copy semantic now and put it in here. Okay, so that's section 2 for you, right? Okay, so let's do that. And remember, last time we already committed, I said we could use git push, okay, for this. And remember I explained how to open your terminal. So we are simply going to continue what we started. I don't even know why there are many of those. Okay, now we can now go and say something like git add, first add the files, and then after the git add process, we can now use git status. Okay, can get you guys status to check what we have, and these are the new files here, like I said. Okay, and then now we can now go ahead and give a git commit -m, and then we're going to put session 202. Okay, CSS styling. Okay, and then we commit that. Okay, and remember we already use alright, so now remember last class we used git push -u origin main. But I said this is not necessary anymore because we have already done this action. So when you are going back to your original file, all you have to do is just to hit git push, and then it's going to do the job because you have already done git push minus u origin main. Okay, so now when you go to your web page and you reload this, you are going to see session02 like that. Okay, you're going to see the commit message, session02 CSS styling. Okay, so I hope everything was fine, guys. See you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.